And by the way, I refuse to apologize for succeeding, helping other people succeed. If you don't like the fact that I have succeeded helping other people succeed, bite my butt, America. Seriously.
Let us watch this video.
You know, the challenges of living without a credit score are very low unless you're trying to buy things that you don't have the money to buy. If you don't have any money, living without a credit score is a lot tougher, in other words. So I haven't had a credit score in years because I haven't borrowed money in years. I mean, like decades. I don't own a credit card. I have just a couple of pieces of plastic in my front pocket. I have a debit card on my business, a debit card on my personal account, my driver's license, and my handgun carry permit. Those are the only plastic I carry. And then I carry some cash. I travel a lot. We travel abroad. We do a lot of work-related travel. We rent cars. We check into hotels. We do all of that with a debit card. I buy things online with a debit card. I have almost no trouble with a debit card any more than you would have with a credit card. I have to use good sense, just like you do with a credit card, in terms of don't interface with websites that aren't secure and so on. You want to use good sense. But I can do everything in my life that you can do except go into debt. And I probably could actually go into debt even though I don't have a credit score because of my net worth and income. But, I mean, I'm pretty bankable, would you guess? But I don't have any desire to do that. You know, where you run into problems out of the gate with a credit score is really three areas when you're broke and just getting started. One is to rent some places they want to see a credit score. Lots of landlords rent to you without a credit score. I'm a landlord. I don't require a credit score to rent from us. I do require some, references, and I want to see some evidence that you have paid bills and can pay bills, but it doesn't require a credit score to rent from us. And there's lots of landlords that will rent to you if you have no debt and you're just out of school and you got the new job, and there's a reason you don't have a credit score is because you haven't gone out there and borrowed a bunch of money, which actually means you can freaking pay your bills, and so you're actually a good renter. The second area is to buy a home with a mortgage without a credit score. It's difficult, but it can be done. You can call our people we've advertised and been our sponsor for 20 years, Churchill Mortgage, and they can get you a mortgage without a credit score. Now, you have to have everything else in line. You have to have a good, solid down payment. You have to have a good, steady time on the job. You have to be not buying too much house as a ratio of your income, your payment, and those kinds of things. It's kind of an old-fashioned idea we used to do when I first got in the real estate business 30 years ago. Mortgage companies actually used to underwrite the loan, meaning they would verify your deposit, they'd verify your employment, they would verify how long you paid your landlord earlier on time, and there was no such thing as a credit score. They just actually looked at the human being and said this track record of this human being makes common sense as a lending process, and that's called manual underwriting today, and it can be done. The third biggest complaint I get for people that don't have a credit score is renting a cell phone as a brand new adult. And you've never had a cell phone, and you walk in and you want to rent a cell phone and you're 19 years old or something, or you want to buy a cell phone and sign up for a service. They're going to require a large deposit that you get back in a year, and they're going to give you all kinds of hassle because they're not used to doing it, and they're a pain in the butt. Now, I don't run into that because I have like 80 cell phones or something like that, or 90 cell phones that our company owns, and they're furnished to our team. And so we have a large contract, and so I don't personally run into that. I mean, if I get ready to get a cell phone, we put it on this massive corporate account that we have, and it's not a big deal. So I don't personally run into that one anymore. And once you've had a cell phone with a carrier for a while, then the deposit is fully returned, and usually it's a year. And it could be like $1,000 or something. But other than that, you really don't have a lot of trouble. Oh, you can run into trouble renting cars from some companies with a debit card when you haven't arrived at an airport. In other words, if you want to go up in your hometown without having arrived by airport and just rent a car with a debit card, some of them won't rent to you. Most of them will, but some of them won't. So you run into a little bit of trouble with that. But it's really very minor compared to being freaking in debt to your eyeballs and paying all your income to a stupid bank and interest coming out your ears, all in the name of having a credit score. Stupid, America. It's stupid. So the offset is very minor. The minor hassle factor in return for having a freaking life that wasn't stolen by a bank, it's a great offset. It's a great offset. And so I'm amazed at the pushback I get. I mean, I get hate mail because I tell people to cut up their credit cards. What a world we live in. You people are weird. Some of you. Some of you people are nuts. I get hate mail because I tell people not to borrow money to buy a car. I get hate mail because I tell people not to buy whole life insurance or go to a payday lender. I get hate mail. It just is amazing to me. We bail it. We get so much of it. How can a Christian do this? Well, a Christian tells people not to get ripped off, stupid bird. Why is this hard? This isn't unbelievable, man. But it's out there, dude. I'll tell you that. And so it's like, it's so weird. Everybody worships the altar of the great FICO. And so God forbid someone should challenge and say, hey, FICO has no clothes. The emperor has no clothes. It's mythology. It's not an indication of wealth building. Your FICO score only says you borrowed money and paid it back. It's not an indication of your net worth or your income or your savvy with money. All it says is you paid bills. And you were stupid enough to go into debt so that later you could go further into debt by building up your FICO score, which is a false measure of financial health. FICO has no clothes. The emperor has no clothes. I dared to say it. I'm the one that stood there. I'm not going along with the crowd. I'm not a little rat-like animal that runs over the cliff with the rest of you. That's called a lemming. I'm not doing it. And you shouldn't either. You need to look around you and say, hey, what is the average typical person who's freaking broke doing? And do the opposite. The average typical person has a student loan that's been around so long they think it's a pet. They have American Distress. They've discovered bondage. A MasterCard, who named that anyway? And they got Visa coming out their ears. In addition to that, they got a fleeced car in the driveway and payments on their stupid bass boat. Give me a break. This is the average person in America. And they bought a house on a 30-year adjustable rate mortgage because that was the only way they could afford the one with the jacuzzi and the skylight. Because, God forbid, we should ask how much. We only ask how much down and how much a month. So that's normal in America. 70% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck. Normal in America is the number one cause of divorce in North America is money fights and money problems. Normal in America is I retire and I say, I hope the government, which is well known for its ability to handle money, will take care of me. Who wants to be flipping normal? Normal sucks. Well, you don't want to be normal. If you got any sense, I don't want to be normal. I want to have a sense of destiny with my wealth. I want to live like no one else so later I can give and live like no one else. So here's the deal. Don't be normal. Be passionate. Go in there, change your life. If your broke friends are making fun of your financial plan, baby, you're right on track. If fat people are making fun of your diet, you are right on track. If somebody who's been divorced 16 times says you're too nice to your wife, maybe you're right on track. If stupid is the norm, you want to be weird, America.